Hello BookTube, Sarah here and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm coming to you with a tag video. This is the book buying tag and I've seen this going around BookTube quite a bit in the last little while and it looked like a lot of fun, so I thought I'd jump in and give it a try myself. It's an older tag. It's about 2 or 3 years old. It was originally done by Megan Olivier, and I will leave a link in the down bar below to her channel so you can check out the original video. But there are about 13 questions. So I only kind of just glanced at these questions. And of course I've seen other people's videos, but I am totally answering these off the top of my head. There is no preparation. I didn't write anything down other than the questions themselves. So let's jump in and get started. Question number 1, where do you buy your books from? Amazon, for one. Amazon is my biggest because I buy everything, of course, for my Kindle. Second would be Harlequin, because I got a lot of my Harlequin ebooks from that website. And then I use a converter to convert them to Kindle and then put them on my Kindle. And then third would be a toss-up between thriftbooks.com and my local, like any charity shops or secondhand stores, where I get a lot of my Back to My Childhood books from, because I do have books on my shelf behind me, but I don't buy physical books. Everything I buy, pretty much, other than my Babysitter's Club and Sweet Valley and Fear Street and stuff like that, are all used. 2, do you ever pre-order books, and if so, do you do this in store or online? Online, because again, I use a Kindle, so I pre-order on the Kindle. And I do pre-order quite often. I have a whole set of videos, or going forward, I did my first one this month, or last month, and it's essentially the books that I've pre-ordered for the next month. Number 3, on average, how many books do you buy a month? On average, 20-ish. But you guys gotta remember, the big bulk of my book buying are Kindle Daily Deals. So, 99 cents or $1 a book, you're buying 20 of them a month. It's a lot of books, but it's not really that hard on the bank account. I don't generally, I do get some pre-orders brand new, and they tend to be a little bit more expensive. But in general, the bulk of my book buying are Kindle Daily Deals, or, even freebies from the Harlequin website that I get from using my points. Number 4, do you use your local library? No. I used to all the time, and I know a lot of people will tell me, you can use Overdrive, and especially with audiobooks, which is something that I think I'm probably going to end up doing. I have about 5 or 6 more audiobooks in my on my Audible account. I've actually canceled my account because the audiobooks that I listen to, like I've said before, tend to be super long. They're the ones that are like, 15, 20, 25-hour long audiobooks. So they take me a good month and a half to get through, maybe even 2 months. So I have no need for any new audiobooks right now. But I think once I've worked my way through all of the ones that I currently have, sitting there in my library on Audible, I am going to stop using Audible, because it can be expensive. 14 something a month is a lot of money, and I'd much rather use that for something else. So I think I will go back and start using my library again and use Overdrive. Now, I don't know how long you can have audiobooks out for. I might have to listen to them at a faster speed to get through them a little bit faster, but that's a bridge I will cross when I come to it. Number 5, if so, how many books can or do you borrow at a time? I don't know. I'm pretty sure it's a good chunk of books, if I remember correctly, that you can borrow. I don't use a library currently, so I don't know. Number 6, what is your opinion of library books? I really like library books. I think it's a great idea. I remember being a kid loving the library. We would go every week. My mom would take my brother and I, and we'd always come out with stacks of books. And, I can still remember going to the library and the thrill of looking through the shelves and seeing, if they had something. Or at the time, we didn't really, we had a computer at home, but we weren't using it a lot, and the fact that I got to go to the library and they had the computers there, and, you could type in what you were looking for and see where it was, and, that you could literally, in a way, it's almost, this is going to sound so weird, but I feel like it is kind of with the internet now. Like, I could go to the library and type in Victorian England, and it would show me where all the books on Victorian England were, history books and what have you, and I could go and immerse myself in those shelves. Now, you just go on and you type Victorian England into Google, and you have everything in front of you. It was such a charm back then to be able to do that, And you had to do more legwork because it wasn't just put in front of you on a platter. But that was part of the fun, was hunting out stuff, especially for school projects and whatnot. Number 7, how do you feel about charity shops, secondhand bookshops? I love secondhand bookshops. Even when I bought physical books, I lived for secondhand bookshops. There is nothing like the feeling of coming out of a store with 20 books that you maybe spent $5 on or something. Do you know what I mean? And to go through books that were well used and well loved. And, occasionally I've found used books that I have purchased that have had like receipts in them or writing in the margins. And it's kind of interesting to see who loved this book before you did. You know what I mean? Number 8, do you keep your red and TBR piles together on the same shelf or not? These shelves are no longer used. These are all books that I've already read, but I love them. I'm still probably going to purge most of them out when I move. And some of them, like the Babysitters Club one that you can see right there, that's obviously going to stay. And some of these bigger ones, like The Princess of Ireland, I love this book. But when I had bookshelves, and I had a lot of bookshelves, I did keep them separate. I kept the TBR and my red books separately. Now, because I have the Kindle, I don't do that. What I do have is collections in the Kindle, and I just started doing this year, is that I'm breaking it up by month because I have my monthly TBRs. So I'm downloading the book and then putting it in, and then I can see when the book's been read or not within that grouping that, like, for January, all those books have been read. But they're going to stay there on the Kindle in that collection, so I know that, if I go back in a year or 2 years, I can go back and go, oh yeah, I read that book in January of that year or in April of that year. So that's how I kind of keep it separate on the Kindle. But on my Goodreads account, anything that is actually listed marked as to be read are essentially all the books that I have to read. I don't put books in there that I don't own. Unless I own the book is the only time that goes in there. It keeps it easy for me because I would hate nothing more to go through that list and go, oh, I want to read that book, and then realize, oh, I have to buy that book. I'd much rather put it there because I own it, not just necessarily because I want to own it or because I want to read it. Number 9, do you plan to read all the books that you own? I think, to be honest, that's a ridiculous question. I plan to. I'm not saying when that's going to happen because I have a lot of books on my TBR. But I wouldn't buy a book unless I plan on reading it. I am not, and I'm not knocking anybody, but I know there's probably some people out there who buy it because it's pretty. I mean, oh, I bought this book because look at how pretty the cover is, and I'll get to it eventually. And they never get to it in a year or two. You see them doing an unhaul of that book because, well, I really liked the cover, but I wasn't too sure about the book. So I really try to be good about what I'm buying and buy stuff that I know I'm going to want to read. Although saying that, I did have a big purge of my Kindle books late last year, late in 2016, because I had a lot of books on there that I either grabbed for free or whatever on the Kindle, and they were like, nah, yeah, but at the time I'm thinking, oh, it's free. A little bit different than spending 20 some odd dollars on a physical book that you never end up reading. You know what I mean? Anyway, that's an entire other side video I'm sure I could do. Number 10, what do you do with books that you own and feel like you will never read or you did not enjoy? I donate them. Simple as that. When we moved here, I had like 4 bookcases full of books, and I actually ended up donating 80% of them. This is all I have left. And even I have piles behind me that are going to be going to, a local charity shop. They're going to go. And yeah, it's a Heather Graham book. I might keep some of these just to keep on my shelves because, like, as decorations, if you will, because she is such a favorite author of mine. And, sorry, it's dragging this out. I bought this at Chapters for like $20. Now, I absolutely plan on reading this. Do I plan on reading it in this format? No. I will listen to this on audiobook. The Outlander series are best read, in my opinion, are best listened to in audiobook format. The narrator is fantastic. But this is a gorgeous edition. I do love this series, and I will keep this because, and it's beautiful. It's absolutely a beautiful book, and I love beautiful books. I absolutely do. Another one that, sorry, I'm totally going off tangent here. I hope you guys don't mind. Where is it? I was just looking at it over my shoulder. I found this copy of the Da Vinci Code at a used bookstore, okay? I think it cost me $3. If you guys have not seen this edition of the Da Vinci Code, now I loved it. I read it when it first came out, and I want to reread it. I do own it for the Kindle, but I want to reread it eventually. But this edition is unbelievable. This is a fully illustrated edition of the Da Vinci Code. It's the full text of the novel, but it's got pictures in it. Now, when I first read it years and years ago, I remember running down to the computer because I didn't have a computer in my room and I did not have a phone that you could access Google with. We're going way back in the day. I would run downstairs to my computer to look up like The Last Supper because I wanted to see what they were talking about in the book. Now, it's all in here. And I own it for the Kindle, but I think at the same time as I'm reading it on the Kindle, I might have this so I can kind of go through it and look at some of the things that that are in here. It's gorgeous. And I got it for $3. Like, this retailed for 50 bucks Canadian. This is definitely one that is going to end up being kept, for sure. Back there. Sorry. You guys know I don't cut videos. You see everything. Generally. Sometimes I do when I ramble far too much. Where are we on? Question 11. Have you ever donated books? Well, I think I talked about that in a previous question. That seems like kind of a double question, like the same as question 10. I donate them, if yes. Number 12. Have you ever been on a book buying ban? No, I don't see the point in that. That's just silly. You know, oh, I buy too many books, so I need to stop buying books. You stop buying books if you cannot afford to pay your rent, or you know, you can't put food on the table. You know, it's a hobby. It's something that you enjoy. I mean, if you're going out and spending $40, $50 a week on books, that's fine if you can afford it. If you can't afford it, then there's a problem. But I don't see the fact of putting yourself on a ban from doing something that you enjoy doing. It's your hobby. You know, that's just my personal opinion. And number 13, do you feel that you buy too many books? No, because this year, like I said, I have changed things around. I used to pre-order a lot of books. I used to buy a lot of those books that were like $1, you know, or a free book for the Kindle, and I would never get around to reading it, and it was just kind of a waste to have it sitting there on taking up space on my Kindle, essentially, when it was something that I knew I would eventually get to and may kind of be interested in reading, but not so much. But now I'm being a lot more selective with what I'm buying. Any Harlequin books, like Harlequin category books, I buy those automatically, without thought, without question. If it's on sale, I buy them. Like, I just bought one this morning that was 99 cents. I have no idea what it was about. I think it's about a cowboy, and he's a private investigator. But I love those books so much, and they're such quick, easy reads that to grab them, I'll buy 100 of those a month, and I don't care. But I have been keeping track of what books I'm buying this year on the spreadsheet that Rich from Let's Read did, the Let's Read Too Many Books spreadsheet. And I have been keeping track, and it is kind of interesting to look back at it and go, wow, did I buy all those in the month of, you know, January? Not that I'm ashamed that I did, but I did. I know a lot of people have their physical bookshelves are trying to do things like, you know, read 3 to buy 1. Luckily, I don't have that, you know, that a space issue. I have a Kindle. You know, my books all sit on here, all of them. You know, I own 500 books. They're all right here. And I love that. For ebooks, you can't beat it. And, you know, if you guys are interested, I'd love to do a whole video on my thoughts on why I love ebooks so much, as opposed to physical books. I might do that in the months to come. But anyway, that's it for this tag. I did have a few people I wanted to tag. This is my first time actually tagging people. Because this has been around for years, I don't know if these people have actually done this tag. But if you haven't, please do it, because I'd love to see everybody's answers on this. And the first is Elizabeth at Lizzie Faye Loves Books, and I will link all their channels in the down bar below. The second one is Alana at, I hope I'm saying your name, is it Alana or Alana? I apologize. At Alana Reads. She just subscribed to me, and she's super sweet. She comments on like every video, and, you know, I feel like I've made a new friend, and I'm really excited about, you know, talking with her and seeing her videos, so I'd love to see your answers to this one if you haven't done it. And the last is Kim at the Romance Queen of BookTube, someone else who comments. All 3 of these ladies comment on all my videos, and they're super duper sweet, and I'd love to see all their answers on this as well. So that's the end of the video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And if I didn't tag you, but you're interested in doing this and you haven't done it yet, please do it. Consider yourself tagged. And please post in the comments below if you've done it and let me know so I can go watch your video. Until next time, guys. I did that all without taking a breath. Until next time, guys, take care and happy reading. Bye.